Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mel Mighty. Welcome back to Deck Profile Series. So, before I begin, I want to appreciate you guys who's been following, subscribing, Instagram and YouTube. I know it's been a while. I haven't posted any video for a month or two, but here it is. I hope you guys had a great new year and all that. So before I begin, I want to say about the playmat here. It's One Punch Man, and there's fan made anime girl, which I forgot the name was, but whoever made this playmat, I have a posted link, a description below, so go ahead and check it out. There is no sponsor by them, but I want to appreciate their production, which is pretty nice, so I want to say thank you. Anyway, so I want to begin with this deck profile. Basically, I want to say there is 15 monster card and 26 spell cards, and that means there is no trap cards in this deck. But however, I added in the side deck in case you are preferring any trap cards in this deck. That would be awesome. But I added very few of them, so yeah, just gonna show every card and see what's up. So obviously you're gonna need three copies of Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand, because this guy is one of the main guy in this deck. Basically, if you special summon him from the graveyard, banish one monster on the field or graveyard, and increases its attack based on its banished monster level multiple of 100. So if you banish a level 10 monster, that means you get increases by 1,000 on both attack and defense. If this monster destroys a monster by battle, then you can special summon any level 7 or 8 dragon type monster from the graveyard except the same monster. So it's really good if you have any level 7 or 8 dragon type monster. If that's your base deck, then you definitely have a huge plus for this card. So I recommend to keep 3 copies of this, because he comes back every time you special summon this guy from the graveyard, and he uses effects. Also, basically another main monster, which is Darkest Diablos, Lord of the Lair. So he is one of the another monster that comes back every time you tribute a dark monster. Also has another effect that he can tribute any dark monster, including itself actually, and you can actually your opponents to choose their card from their hand and place on top or bottom of the deck. So it's really huge advantage when you try to tribute a monster, and dark monster actually, to tributing to activate its effect. And then if you use any tributing effect or any tribute summon, as long as it's dark, it comes back from the graveyard or even hand. So it's really nice to have these guys on the graveyard or in the hand, because they work to each other pretty well. But the downside is there's conditional, because you have to use Lair of Darkness on the field to make it happen, especially you want to grab your opponent's monsters. So that's just the downside. So these guys are the main monsters. So you obviously need a support card. I chose 3 copies of Paladin of Felgrand because he has an attributing effect. If you have a Lair of Darkness on the field, you definitely want to use this effect. And it's not once per turn. You can bring these guys from the graveyard or hand as any way as possible. If you can bring them out 3 copies at once, that's great. You could just use your effect, bring them out level 8 or level 7 or 8 dragon type monster and equip it to this monster, and it's unaffected by any monster effect while it's equipped. So it's really awesome. So I would definitely recommend 3 copies. And I choose 3 copies of Arima the Wicked Warden because he has an attribute effect as well. Basically, you have a 3 different effects. One is you can discard this card from the hands of the graveyard. You can search for Lair of Darkness field spell. Second is you can tribute itself to draw 1 card, or you can tribute another dark monster to tribute, and then search for any dark monster that has 2,000 or more defense. So if you already have Diablos on the graveyard or hand, you can use this effect and then bring him out. So it's really nice to have these guys together. So these guys are the best choice when you're creating Felgrand / Lair of Darkness deck into this. So it's only a few left. It's just Arc Brave Dragon. I think you probably wanted to have 3 copies because you can bring them out with the Dragon Ravine or Foolish Burial, but I put 1 copy because It's just the way that I think the balancing might work. For me, it is. But if you prefer to having 3 copies, yeah, that's really awesome because I like this card because it works pretty well. It's really best for any dragon type monster. Uh, it's just to bring them out during the standby phase. Also, if this guy is special summoned from the graveyard, you can banish opponent's spell, face up spell and trap on the field, and then banish them. Wait, I said that right. And increases attack and defense equal to the amount of banished cards multiple 200. So it's really nice to banish them instead of trying to destroy it. And one copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon because it brings back once per turn any dragon type monster from the hand or graveyard. And I only put 1 copy of Raiden because he's really awesome. I mean, he allows me to send 2 cards from top of my deck during the main phase or end phase. So you can just, it's kind of a risk thing, but at the same time, it's nice to have just at least one copy. Allows me to dump the cards. If you get Return of the Dragon Lords to the graveyard, it's really nice to have in the banishing effect if your dragon type monster will be destroyed. So it's really nice to have, and if you're trying to get rid of any dragon type monster, that's the one way to do it. So these are the monsters I have. These are 15 cards. Now moving on to spell cards, you obviously need a Lair of Darkness because this is kind of the main thing as well. So I really recommend to have at least maybe 2 copies, 3 copies, that's up to you, but I put 3 copies so it's more easier to comes out on the deck. I put 2 copies of Dragon Ravines. 3 copies is fine too, I guess. I mean, like I said, it's just how many copies do you think are best for you. I mean, for me, it's 2 copies because that's not really my main thing, but also it helps me to send dragon type monster like Felgrand, Diablos, Archbrave to the graveyard. So they really help me, and then you can just activate this if you already have in your hand. Okay, so now moving on to more, I put 1 copy of Terraforming because Arima already does the whole searching Lair of Darkness. You can just use this to search for Dragon Ravine, so I think it helps. I put 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. Well, obviously this is the best card ever for the Dragon type monster, but only level 7 or 8. So it's really awesome, and it's one of the most valuable card of all. So you can check that out if you want to. That's the moving on. And I put you need a drawing power. You need 2 copies of trade-in and 2 copies of advanced draw because these allows me to draw 2 cards from the deck. Basically this had to discard level 8 Diablos, Felgrand, these are the main ones. Advanced draw, if you already have them on the field, you can just target one of them and then tribute them and draw 2 cards. So it's a really good combo if you already have Diablos on the field, in the graveyard. Let's say you want to tribute Felgrand with this card effect, and if you have Lair of Darkness on the field, you can tribute. That means you already used the effect. Felgrand, it becomes dark because of Lair of Darkness. So basically, you can use this effect as long as you have the Lair of Darkness, and then you can special summon Diablos from the graveyard or hand. So that just gives you combo, special summoning, and then draw in the same turn. So I think it's a really nice balance. We have 2 copies, 3 copies, okay, but like I said, it's just the way you want it. It just depends on you. And you just need, obviously you need 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, and Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords. It's another way to dump in your dragon type monster from the field or hand to the graveyard. You can return this from your hand. Another thing is Paladin of Felgrand you can use Paladin of Felgrand, basically any equipped dragon type monster to the graveyard, and then special summon token by this effect, and then you can use her effect to special summon level 8 or 7 dragon type monster from the graveyard. So it's really nice, powerful card. It's not very popular, but it's very useful and supportive to just trying to dump any dragon type monster from the field and then eventually special summon. So it's really helpful for your deck. So just let me move a little bit here. I have a Monster Gate. Monster Gate's really good. Let me move here actually. Monster Gate is actually allows you to tribute any monster. So if you have Lair of Darkness, you can tribute your opponent's monster. So what it does is tribute a monster, excavate any card, as much cards from the top of the deck until you can draw a monster that can be normal summon, and then you can just special summon it. So it's kind of like reasoning, except basically you just keep excavating until you have a monster that can be normal summon. So it's really helpful if you have Lair of Darkness. That's why I really need this card. Most of the cards that actually requires tributing, so you can just grab their monster and then just take advantage of it. So that way you can just play your cards as much as you can. Oh, excuse me. Then you have enemy controller. It's similar, but it's basically tributed monster and then take control of one of opponent's monster until end of this turn. But also another effect is basically target one monster on the field, changes battle position. So I mainly use this card because of tributing effect. But there's sometimes a case that might say it cannot be cannot target my monster by card effect. That could happen, but this is just when you want to tribute a monster that actually does that. So I recommend to have at least 2 copies. 3 copies is really good. But like I said, I'm trying to look on this effect in case I have Lair of Darkness on my hand and activate and opponent's monster is on the field. So it really helps. Next few thing is basically got Fool's Burial, dump any monster from deck to the graveyard, and I have Twin Twister. It's really awesome. You just send 1 card from the hand to the graveyard and then destroy up to 2 spell and trap. So you can dump any level dragon type monster from the hand if you already have. I have Monster Reborn, and I also have a Soul Charge. Soul Charge is really good. It's basically you pay 1,000 life point for each monster from the graveyard use special summon, but you cannot conduct a battle. So that's the only downside. But if you have all those Diablos, Arima, if you want to just trying to use their effects, just go ahead and do it. So you have your opponent's field have no protection unless you have ways to just get rid of spell and trap. That's really great, but it's really make a good combo if you're trying to use this card, and then your opponent's field is just empty. They have no way to try to bring it. They'll have a struggle to bring him out other cards. So it just depends on the situation, obviously, but mainly you're trying to empty your opponent's field as much as possible. So these are the main deck, and like I said, if you have any suggestion, please do so. I just want to moving on to the extra deck monster real quick, but it's not very heavy extra deck. Really, it's just number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. It's really nice. It's level rank 8. But I wanted to use Galaxy Eye Cypher Blade Dragon because it only requires this monster if you already has a attached monster or material. Basically, detach a card from here. You can just target 1 card on the field, destroy it. So it's really useful. That's another way to just destroy a spell and trap or monster. Also, it has a pretty decent beater, 3200, and this one has 4000 beater. If you're trying to look for just beating opponents up as much as they can, then that's a good option. But if you're trying to figure out to destroy your opponent's spell and trap, this is another way to do it. So, and the last few thing is Neo Galaxy Galaxy Eye Photon Dragon. 68, it's okay, it's not that big of a deal. And the last thing is number 70, Malevolent Sin. It's not too bad. I mean, these are not the best option, but I just using it to, in case I really need to. They're not the best option, but like I said, it's just, it's not a heavy base, extra deck based deck. So that's why I just only add a few of those. If you have any suggestion like Deco Tucker or any other of those monsters, that's fine. Like I said, it's just how you trying to aim in the deck and for the duel. So obviously you're gonna need like these tokens, obviously just in case. For the side deck, obviously, I didn't really have much of an option, but I just put a Duke Shade because this guy also has a tributing effect, but basically special summoning it. This is a similar way legendary Maju cards. These guys are the best card of all, because it's like the end of the game. This is how it works, especially him. If there's no any other option, you have opponents have so many monsters on the field, but here it is, using Lair of Darkness and then tribute all of those monsters and increases their attack equal to combine all of their attacks. So that's just the hardest beater of all times. How you're gonna need to use them if you need to. These are the monster for attributing. Just put Dragonity, Arma, Levitant. It's not really a good choice, but it's just that if you want to add another level 8 monster, same thing as Galaxy Eye Photon Dragon. Another way to add a few more level 8 monsters to have a chance to use your trade-in, as well as a advanced draw. So you're gonna need to kind of think about which cards you want to put in your side deck, but it's not the best option, like I said. Spell cards, Charge of the Library Gauge is good because you already have Raiden, and I have a Recurring Nightmare because you have a Arima. If you happen to have 2 Arima in the graveyard, you can just add back to your hand. And then if you don't have Lair of Darkness, you can use this card and put it back to the hand, and then discard it again to search for Lair of Darkness. So that's another way to just put a decent combo into that. Last thing is the trap card. If at least 1 copy or maybe 3 copies of Call of the Haunted, kind of replacing Return of the Dragon Lords, or you just wanted your deck is based on bringing them back from the graveyard, then Call of the Haunted, Oasis of the Dragon Souls is really good. That's the option. Crash Card Virus, all these stuff for tributing effect. It's really nice. Crash Card Virus, Eradicator, Full Force Virus, and Grinding Grave Virus. These guys are just another way to show that you still have Lair of Darkness. But like I said, this is just up to you. This is not gonna be. They may not be added to my deck anytime soon, unless I thought, okay, this deck has inconsistency into the deck. Then I probably think about adding those cards. So these are the side decks that I thought I could pretty much add it to the deck, side deck. So yeah, here it is, guys. Really appreciate you guys watching. I didn't think about any other ideas. It's been so long. I know I already talked about this for a few times, but I couldn't get it up until now. So yeah, just let me know what you think of the decks. I mean, these are just a 41 card deck. I'm pretty sure a lot of you is just adding Ash or any hand traps to kind of trying to stall time, stalling, and then trying to get your cards as much as you can. That's kind of like everyone's trying to do. I get it, because there's no full pure one type of deck. Just doesn't, may not work. So I get it, but this is another way to bring them out. Your Lair of Darkness slash Felgrand, or Felgrand slash Lair of Darkness. But maybe a few of you trying to do that, but this is kind of like my idea. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys just like this video. You can go ahead and smash that smash and subscribe if you haven't. If you got any idea for Lair of Darkness and just the Felgrand itself, please give me an idea, and I would try to make a deck profile again. I would try to get some ideas as well. So again, thank you for guys watching, and I'll see you guys next time.